Felicity. How are you today?
Hi Emily, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's my pleasure being here today. I'm so happy you've agreed to sit down to work things out between us. It,
Um, I don't really appreciate. I don't know what is there to work out. I really think that firing me, suspending me without a pay is fair enough. So I don't know, Emily, what you're trying to work out here.
yes, I understand. Um, it always takes courage and patience, like you've eloquently expressed a while ago, to engage in negotiation. And I am very appreciative that this is the course of action in which you have taken. Right? How is the weather treating you today?
It's quite good, not that bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, for me, it's basically the same.
Mhm.
As you know, I love the code. That's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I've left Jamaica and came here because of the code. As you know, the code, I really love the code. And both you and I remember the great snowfall of the 1996.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
Yes.
That was horrible.
Yes, it was. Hopefully we don't get none of that, but you know.
I'm glad that you remember it.
Yes. I always do. You know. How are the kids?
Yeah, they are doing perfectly fine. Until they knew about this issue, they're a bit worried about me.
Yes, I understand. I know that this is a very challenging issue, not just for you, but also the kids. It must be, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it must be. And like I said, I'm glad that you actually came here to agree to a sit down so that we can work things out between us, because we really need to try and see if we can put this issue to rest. Do you remember that staff party we had a few weeks back for James' birthday?
Yeah. Yes, perfectly. I remember that.
You remember?
Yes, yeah. You were so drunk and on the floor. I do remember, Emily.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So you were very hyperactive. I haven't seen you like that, but yeah, it
I-
was. Yeah, please.
I was hyperactive because I had a lot of cake. As you know, I'm very in love with cake, so I think that it's
So-
the sugar rush, you know?
So you're trying to say that all of that was just a sugar rush
Just a sugar rush.
and not alcoholic effect? Okay.
You know how much I love cake.
Okay,
Yeah.
I trust you then.
Yes. I had to dig in that day. And in digging in, I do believe that I went a bit overboard, you know? But I'm glad that you've enjoyed yourself clearly. And I've enjoyed myself from that ordeal.
Yeah, I believe everyone did enjoy that part.
Yes,
It
that's
was good, yeah.
yes, I agree. And that is the main point of staff parties, right? It's to build rapport between, or among, should I say, the employees, right? And I'm glad that we could have had an event such as that marks the anniversary of a person which both you and I appreciate. Is the room to your liking today?
Sorry?
Is the room to your liking today?
Yeah, I have been here like for my 25 years, So I know each and every corner of this organization. So I have been into this room, quite like more than like I can't even count, So yeah, I'm liking it.
Yes. So basically, what you're saying is that the 25 years in which you've served here, right? It acquaints you with all the corners and crevices of the room.
Yes.
Basically, yes,
Yeah.
yes, I understand. Well, you know what? Like I said, my goal for this negotiation is for us to, try to get to a point in which there is mutual understanding, and of course we can benefit mutually, right?
Okay.
I'm glad that you know what, I forgot to ask you, how was your journey to this location?
It was like as always, as I mentioned before, I traveled my whole life here. So it it was just like a usual day, but with a more of a heavy heart, rather than being happy as always. Like I always travel to this place because of the incidents, as you clearly know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit with a heavy heart that I was traveling today.
Yes, I understand. Well, my intention is to ease the pain in which you're feeling as it regards to this incident, this situation. Like I said, it's a very tough situation. And I know that with an incident such as this, it makes any journey not a satisfactory journey, right?
I'm glad that you understand.
Yes, I do. Alright, so pivot. So once again, I want to extend my deepest gratitude for agreeing to the sit down, as you are aware. I feel that if I am to serve you and our colleagues, I need to be mentally fit. I must agree. This situation has taken a toll on my mental health, thereby affecting the services in which I think it's owed to not only many of our colleagues, but most importantly to you, a valuable asset to this organization. I've always tried to avoid a reputation of micromanagement because I feel that delegation is one of the best methods that can be used to foster growth, right? I feel very frustrated, and I hope that my frustration will not cause a micromanagerial relationship between myself, Becky, and Marty. As you know, I've tasked them with the responsibility of, I'm trying to see if they can organize the best practices in which we need going forward, right?
I don't really understand that, because we are working in a certain way from a long time, and it worked really fine.
Yes.
I don't understand what is the need to implement new rules and change it all over.
Yes, I understand.
I really don't get it.
Yes, I understand. Culture is very essential to any organization, right? And the value in which is placed on culture by employees, it cannot be undermined, it cannot be discounted, right? And of course, I'm the type of person who tries to pride myself on respecting one's culture, right? But I must agree that I think that I believe in the back of my head I went a bit overboard. Of course, that's the reason why we're actually speaking between each other based on negotiation settings to really discuss where I've went wrong and where I actually, based on your interpretation, right, where I've actually made strides, right? So, as you know, Family Connection is one of the most prestigious non-profit organizations focused on providing assistance to local low-income families. A significant reason behind Family Connection's success is, as I've mentioned earlier, your contributions. And you are, without a shadow of a doubt, a valuable asset to this initiative. I strongly believe that we can do more as a company. We can achieve more, right? Collaboration is a vital tool for any group with a shared goal, as you know. I believe that instead of having members work independently, their skills, their aptitude can be magnified, right? If they engage in a collaborative effort, right? The purpose behind my move, right, to organize best practices is so that we can achieve success more efficiently, right? It's clear that we're being effective, we're achieving our goals, but
we are achieving our goals by working independently. So how can you clearly say that if everyone is different, so different people working together will get this success? How can you say that?
Well,
like, how do you believe on that? Because so far we have seen everyone is assigned an individual task and they're doing great so far. And there is no, look downs or something, drop downs or something happen from any of them.
Yes.
So it's just working fine.
Yes, I understand your point. So basically what you're saying is that my move towards developing best practices is basically no more than a disruptor trying to create change which is not really necessary. It's redundant. The change in which I am proposing is redundant because things are functional at the moment. You guys are clearly effective at achieving your goals, even though you're working independently. But as I stated earlier, right? When there is independence and there is collaboration, by the end of the day, collaboration will always, and more often than not, trump independence in the sense that while in an independent setting creates for an atmosphere of effectiveness, collaboration creates an atmosphere of efficiency, right? So what you are taking 10 minutes to achieve, right, with independence, right, you can achieve this in a 5 minutes time if there is collaboration, right? So basically that is the main point, that is the main reason as to why I want to create best practices, for us to try to collaborate more, try to magnify one another's strengths, and of course try to mitigate our weaknesses, right? So
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I don't mind giving it a try.
yes, I understand, and I'm very happy that you're willing to, to try to commit yourself to the changes in which I have in mind, right? Try to give it a chance, as you said. To do this, the company needs structure, right? In order to create change, in order to collaborate more, the company needs structure. And I understand this to be the center of the dispute in which we have, as you've stated earlier. In the likely event that we do develop best practices, I want to make sure that all the employees are aware of the actions that should be taken on their part to conform with those standard procedures to achieve success. Most importantly, I want to highlight my use of Becky in identifying the best practices, right? I know even up to this very day, you may be iffy, right, or reluctant, based on the trust in which I've showed, well, towards Becky for trying to gather information. Right?
I am aware of the fact that Becky is trying to gather the information for you for the come up with the best practices.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure, the disrespectful that is shown towards me by, just suspending me without any pay and thinking that I'm not enough for this position. I don't think what's going on.
Yes, I understand. The thing is, I understand, and I must say that like I said, I believe that I went overboard with how I've handled the situation. We're going to get to that in just a moment, as to how I think that I should have handled the situation. This situation is very sensitive, and it requires due care, basically. But Becky was actually selected based on her strong organizational skills. As you know, she is the main administrator, right?
But she is not aware of, organization things as I am.
I believe so, because Becky, as you know, she is the administrative personnel.
Yeah.
So of
before
course,
checking it with her, you should have just checked it with me.
yes, I understand, and that's the reason why I've tasked you with the responsibility of gathering research, in which I believe that Becky is going to need to create the best practices in which the organization is looking for, and in which
I don't mind you giving her that position to just, to gather information and everything, but at
Mhm.
least I should have been aware of what's happening in the organization since I have been here for like past 25 years.
Yeah.
At least I should have been aware like what's going on, you know. So I am talking about that disrespectfulness that's showing towards me,
Mhm.
that everything is happening back of my backside, but I'm not aware of what's happening in the organization that I have been served so long. So
I understand. So what you're basically saying is that, of course, I should have opened up more to you, shared more information as to what we're working on, right? Instead of providing you with, instead of tasking you with the responsibility of gathering research, you believe that you should be doing more, basically, right? In order to create best practices that you believe is going to be fair, right? Not only to the members of the organization, but also to you, a person who contributed significantly to our initiative. Am I correct?
doing that is the secondary part. At least I should have been aware, like you should have discussed it with the board of committee or the people that you are planning to make these changes and everything.
Yes.
Instead of giving one task to one person and giving another task to one person, you should have just informed us. Why couldn't you call up a meeting? You call meetings for every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a day you come up with 6-7 meetings, like for no reason at all.
Yeah.
This is one of the important thing that you should have informed your employees, and you couldn't, and you didn't call a meeting, you didn't get like spare 10 minutes or 15 minutes for this meeting, and you could have told, see, clearly you are new here, right?
Mm-hmm.
When compared to us, you are very new here.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to gather information, or in order to make few changes or anything,
Mhm.
you could have just called us, you could have informed the board of committee or the employees,
Mhm.
and you could have just shared what was in your mind.
Yeah.
We got to hear this from some other, or we just got to know about this from somewhere else, instead from a formal meeting or something.
Okay.
Yeah?
So basically, what you're saying is that in order for you to know, what I should have taken a more direct approach in providing information as to my plans for the organization, in the sense that it should have been shared in a unified way, right? More people should have been, I should have structured a meeting which involved you as a senior. You could have provided your input on the situation there and then, basically. If there are any rebuttals from the subordinates, from individuals, or the juniors, they could have made their statements. There and then you could have said, because we would take like a democratic approach to this. So there and then you could have said, I do not think that Becky is good enough to develop the best practices. That should be a role in which should be handled by me, which is the senior, right? So based on the fact that I have superior knowledge as to who does what and who was here, and who basically get vacation here and there, and so yeah, basically that's what you're basically saying, is that
partial of it is correct.
Mhm.
But what I'm trying to say is that not giving Becky administrative, but at least you should have informed everyone.
Mhm.
Everyone should have been aware
Mhm.
that you are planning to make these changes.
Best practices, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that everyone should have been, aware of it. You should have informed them in a formal meeting.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go, you know how an organization works. I'm assuming that you know that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go and tell each and everyone, so I'm planning to do this, planning to do this. Instead of that, why organization calls a formal meetings, right? So that you can, provide information to a large mob in a less time, right?
Yeah.
So you could have just called for a 11 minutes meeting or 15 minutes meeting, and you could have informed everyone. So I'm planning to do this. These are the ideas that I have in my mind. So you could have just did that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But basically, what my response to that is, I believe that the reason why I think that a meeting was redundant, it's because of the nature of our business. Basically, our business is a very small business. Information. You call meeting because, well, one being that sometimes in order to get information across, you need a formal meeting if you're dealing with a very big organization, right? More often than not, right? I understand that the nature of this change is sensitive, right? And I understand that you should be aware of it, right? But I believe that you were aware of the nature of the situation, but based on how you've approached me and expressed your concern, wouldn't you say that it was a bit erratic on your part?
I agreed to the fact that ours is a small organization, but then meetings and organization, it doesn't matter if your organization is small or large. Every organization has its meeting, and as you said, you're planning to change the entire system of how an organization is working, and I am assuming that you know the seriousness of that situation, right?
Yeah.
It's more than you are entirely completely trying to change the system that's been followed like a long years ago. So don't you think that every employee of your organization should be aware of that?
That's the thing. Every employee was aware of the change in which I was proposing, right?
But it wasn't formally informed to them.
No, it was. It was. And of course, the meeting in which you're proposing is for the purpose of the individuals raising their objections. Clearly, you're the only one who is objecting to the change in which I'm proposing. And like I said, right?
That's because it's gonna affect me more than anyone else in the organization.
Yes, and I agree that it will. But to say that people weren't duly aware of the change in which I am proposing, right? And to say that we need a formal meeting in order for me to share that information when you are the only one who objects to that, to the change in which I'm proposing in a very erratic way, might I add. I don't think it's a fair characterization.
People being aware of it or not aware of it, and people being not agreeing to that is a secondary thing. But as a director, you're supposed to inform your employees.
They were informed, like I said.
That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to go and inform each one of them. You should have informed them in a group.
They were.
Like when?
Like I said, they were informed, and of course, like I said, the objection in which was raised, it was raised in a very unprofessional way, right? By the person who, of course, the reason why they objected is because they believe that it's going to affect them, like you said, more than anyone else, right? So, as I've stated, because you're saying that we needed a formal meeting, right?
Yes.
The formal meeting would be there for the individuals to raise their objections. Who needs to raise their objections? Clearly, no one else needed to raise their objection because everyone basically agreed, except for you.
Basically
But-
agreed
but
because
you
few
have-
of them
but-
are afraid that you would
No,
just
no, no.
fire them.
They weren't afraid. They weren't afraid. They were well aware of the importance of the conforming to the Employment Act because, of course, fairness is valued by anyone and everyone, right?
I'm not
In the
sure
organization.
if I agree with you or
No,
not.
no, you are not going to agree with me because, like you said, the 10 weeks vacation in which you have paid vacation will be mitigated, right? And it wouldn't be fair for you because you were here earlier, you've contributed a lot, you haven't got any vacation whatsoever. So of course it's not going to be fair to you.
I'm
But-
glad that you realized that.
Yes, I understand that. And of course, what is going to be fair for the new employees, and that's the reason why they didn't raise their objections, is that we conform to the Employment Act, which says that we should have best practices which equates vacation for the individuals within the organization, right? I implement that plan, and your 10 weeks vacation will cut down to 2 weeks. It's going to affect you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you haven't got any vacation at the start of your career,
Yes,
basically.
yes, that's right.
So, to say that individuals weren't aware of the changes in which I'm planning and they don't agree to the changes in which I plan, it's an unfair characterization. But that is not the issue. The main reason I think the vacation policy needs to change, as I've stated, it's outdated, basically. It was handled on a casual basis, right? I understand that from a cultural perspective, handling vacation on a casual basis, I think it was functional, basically, right? Evelyn had a plan, she implemented it well, but I think that we need to make the transition from a casual to a more structured and standard form of, providing vacation for the employees in which works at Family Connections.
Yeah,
Right?
I basically understand
Mhm.
the need why an organization needs a structural way of functioning.
Mhm.
And I totally agree with that. But then Evelyn was more aware of how I was working for this organization from the start, the time and the focus that I invested.
Mhm.
As you clearly mentioned, the time as in the time that I was working so hard that I didn't even get any vacations during the start. I
Mhm.
feel like I paid my dues.
Mhm.
So if you implement this new standard of working, then that's gonna affect me so badly. And I think that's very unfair.
I understand
Don't
that.
you think so?
Yes, I understand that under Evelyn's leadership, vacation was dealt with in a casual manner,
Mhm.
which assisted you a lot because, as you stated, you contributed a lot to the
Yes,
organization.
that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And Evelyn came up with a strategy that worked,
Yes.
basically. And you're saying that, for us to change that now, it's not going to work, basically, for you.
Exactly.
It's never going to work for you.
As I clearly mentioned, I have paid my dues, right? Because I haven't taken any vacations in the start. So what you see now as an organization is the hard work that we did in the start.
Mhm.
It's the all hard work. It's our time that we invested. So what you see now as an organization, it's all our hard work back then. So I clearly feel that I have paid my dues. And if you implement this now, and if you reduce the vacations that I have, which is 10 weeks, that's clearly, I can't really, agree to that. And I think that it's unfair.
Yeah, I understand. So how do you feel about conforming to the new policy, which will reduce your vacation from 10 weeks to 2 weeks?
As I
I
clearly
ask
mentioned
this.
now.
I ask this because I believe this will level the playing field.
Okay, so as I clearly mentioned now, I can't really totally agree to that. Because as I said, I have worked so hard for this organization. initially when we started, there were only few employees, right? And we had to, invest our time, and I had a family back then as well. I had to take care of them, but then I prioritized this organization because it was small and it was just growing, right? So I had put more time that I was supposed to do. I had invested my time, my health, my focus. I could have done something else, I could have just worked for my working time and just took my vacation. And I could have just stuck to that, as you call this standard working thing.
Yeah.
I could have just done that. But I decided to, work for the organization, invest everything that I had, like time-wise. So that's what you see now. You see?
Yeah.
So Evelyn is clearly aware of that. That's the reason she was a bit lenient towards me.
Yeah.
And I don't say that it is lenient. I deserve that, right? So I got what I deserve. So I can't imagine anything less than 10 weeks because I deserve that. Because I haven't taken any vacation in the start, so that's why I'm getting paid off now.
Yeah, so
So that's what I am getting now.
I understand exactly.
Yeah.
So in effect, what you're saying is that, of course, before this, at the early stages of your career, you had obligations outside of work. Work wasn't your only obligation, right? You had family obligations in which you have sacrificed, right?
Yeah.
And for this initiative, and in sacrificing for that, in sacrificing your family needs for this initiative, your vacation time has suffered. And you believe that you want those time back. You need those time back.
And I deserve it.
Yes, I agree. I agree that you deserve it. And it's your prerogative to get the time in which I believe that is owed to you. And you've made mention again to Evelyn and the approach in which she has taken, because she actually exuded empathy in the situation, because she understands how much you've contributed to the initiative. She understands how much you've contributed. She understands that in the latter part of your career, there should be time in which she says that, you know what, you should get more than the average worker where vacation is concerned, right? Because you've contributed a lot to this initiative. So I understand very well. So instead of having 2 weeks of vacation, how about we take it up a notch? How about we say that you get 3 weeks vacation, and for your juniors, they would get about 2 weeks. 2 weeks vacation, paid vacation, that is. Because your issue is that maybe the juniors get more vacation time than you, right?
See, that's one of my issue, but that's not totally my issue. My issue is I can't imagine getting any less than 10 weeks. Because I totally, as you mentioned, and I'm glad and I'm thankful that you are understanding the situation, and you are clearly, mentioned that and you think that I deserve it, right? So I can't really think about, anything less than 10 weeks. Because,
10 weeks.
yeah.
Okay, so what do you have in mind?
Basically, it's very straightforward, Emily. Like as I mentioned before, like 10 weeks of paid vacation. I deserve that, and I think that's what I need to get.
You need 10 weeks. So, how do you think that the other members of the organization will react to you getting 10 weeks and them not getting 10 weeks? Or do you think that it's going to be fair on their part?
Basically, they should be informed that, as I mentioned clearly, I wasn't taking any paid vacations in the start, right? So I was working.
I have to interject. Do you think
yeah,
that?
please.
Do you think that? How do you think that they're perceiving? Do you think that it's fair that the seniors are getting more vacation than the juniors? Do you think that the juniors view that as something that is fair? Because as according to Evelyn, right, she has dealt with this situation on a casual basis, and thereby allowing the seniors to get more vacation time than the juniors. Do you think that in Becky's mind, in their mind, do you think that it's fair?
I'm not sure if I can agree to that because it's I for me I think that's fair. If not a two, they can get a three. But for me, because I have already mentioned like before, they should be made.
What do you think will happen after you've retired and Becky sees what happens with you, right? You get 10 weeks and she's now a senior. She believes that she contributes. What do you think is going to be the case in which when she's a senior towards her subordinates, what do you think she's going to bargain for? Do you think that she's going to bargain for that? She's going to say that, hey, or don't you think that she's going to say that I deserve 10 weeks like you?
So that's where I'm saying that everyone should be made aware of it. See, my situation is different and Becky's situation is different. She is clearly getting her, weeks, like paid vacation weeks. How much ever it is, she is clearly getting it, right? So my situation is different. I am getting paid for like what I have done in my initial days. Like I haven't got what I was deserving in the beginning. So I am getting it paid now. So I am not getting paid any extra.
What about
So what I have missed in the beginning?
Yeah.
It's been given to me now. So there is nothing extra that I'm taking. It's the same thing. So it's the way how we make our juniors understand that the situation was different. You need to make them understand that how much I have contributed. So what they see now as an organization is all our effort. It's all our time that we had put into. So when I was joining with the organization in my initial days, like 25 years back, you know how young I was, right? So I have invested more time, and you know how old I am.
Yeah.
So don't you think I should be getting that vacation now, at least at this age?
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, but I have a question to ask you as well, because it's clear
please.
that you're not the only senior who is getting more vacation than the juniors. We understand your situation. How do you think that Becky is going to perceive? Because I'm not aware as to why the seniors, because you're not the only seniors getting more vacation than the juniors. How do you think that Becky and the juniors are perceiving that the seniors are getting more vacation time than the juniors? Mind you, your situation is different in the sense that you've contributed more to the organization, but the fact that you're getting more vacation, like the seniors, all of this is going to be taken into consideration by the juniors who will now become a senior. How do you think that they're going to perceive this? What do you think that in the next 5 years after you've retired, when Becky is now a senior, how do you think that she's going to perceive? Do you think that she's going to demand more hours? Don't you think that?
Basically, see, all of the seniors who are getting more paid weeks have basically contributed a lot to this organization.
But their situation is different than yours. You didn't get any vacation at the start.
As you mentioned, I might get.
They haven't contributed as much as you. They haven't got well, they haven't got any vacation. Well, they've got their vacation time in the earlier stages. You haven't got any, right? But they're getting more than the juniors right now. How do you think that the juniors are perceiving that?
So basically, as you mentioned, I might retire in some years, right? So, what about how you, holding off, the standard how it's running now? How about you just holding off this? Like, you can just let it work the way it is until I am working.
Oh, I understand
And
that.
once I'm retired, you can change the system.
I understand. So, so since you've dedicated 25 long years
Yes.
to this initiative,
Yes.
and for the early part of your tenure here at Family Connections, you're proposing that we continue with your 10 weeks, right? Paid vacation, that
Yes,
is.
that's right.
And the new policy will take effect after
Yes.
you've retired.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
So this will be done in stages. However, and that is the main reason why I need your support for this research, right?
Sure,
You're
definitely.
helping with this research, gathering information,
Yeah.
and of course, Becky is actually dealing with structuring the best practices based on the information in which you
Yes.
provided, right? I need to know the opinions of both the seniors and the junior members of the company about how we can go about phasing out the current policy, right? The current casual policy.
Yeah.
Because
So what I suggest is that we can call up a formal meeting
Mhm.
and we can discuss about this in that meeting,
Yeah.
so that we can gather everyone's opinion at a go.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. So no one had any issue with the original setting in keeping with the Employment Act. I chose to amend the vacation policy without understanding how compliant most people are with the existing status quo. Yeah, because I haven't done any surveys, I haven't done any interviews, I haven't done any meeting as you've proposed eloquently, right? So, of course, that is necessary. We need to call a meeting, but most importantly, we need to interview each members individually,
Yes.
because what is discussed in a meeting may not be the accurate, because you may have power imbalance in the room. You may have the senior sitting across steering the individual directly in the eyes, and of course the person may be hesitant with their proposal. So what is proposed also is the survey,
You can
something
have
that is
a-
more confidential.
Yes,
So when it's more
anonymous
confidential,
Yes.
you know that we're going to have more a wealth of information basically.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So meeting, yes, but additionally surveys, something more confidential as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
I totally agree with you.
Based on your reaction, I understand that you find it harder than most members of the organization to comply with the new policy. And you are well within your right to do so, given your contributions and your sacrifice. I believe that more than you, other members will be willing to accept this new policy, more than you, right?
Yes.
Based on the fact that we're going to level the playing field. We're going to revolutionize this business. We're going to start from somewhere new and we're going to move forward, with a sense of collaboration, a sense of equality, fairness. And of course, at that point in time when you have been retired, your input will still be valued. Of course, we're still going to have
instances where
we are going to call on your wisdom. Right?
Sure, definitely. This
Going forward.
organization was always a part of my life and
Exactly.
always will.
Yeah. Going forward, it's without a shadow of a doubt that we call on your wisdom as to how we are going to move forward, right?